Hey there, and welcome to my very first episode of my brand new podcast. I've been dreaming about starting this podcast for years, and honestly, I just kept putting it off. You know, how life gets busy, messy, full of excuses. But lately, I've been listening to Mel Robbins, who I'm absolutely obsessed with, and something she said really stuck with me. You're never going to feel ready. You just have to start. And so here I am, starting, messy, excited, and totally fired up. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Kathleen Spizzato. I'm a wife, proud mother of 6, and a real estate broker, investor with 21 years of experience in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. I've helped people through everything from first-time home sales to estate sales, divorces, relocations, tons of experience with that, tons of experience with raising kids. What I didn't have a lot of experience with was politics up until 2020. In the beginning of 2020, we had so much on our plates. We had a baby, a toddler, teenagers. My mother-in-law was battling cancer, and we made the tough decision to sell a home that we loved to move closer to my kids' school so we didn't have to commute back and forth so much. We were excited and hopeful and a bit anxious and sad about everything that was unraveling in our lives. At that time, we were completely oblivious to COVID and what was going on in the world around us. Fast forward to March 2020, my mother-in-law passed away and school shut down. At that same time, we were preparing to close on our house the following week, and even our attorney was telling us that we weren't sure if we were going to be able to close because the banks might be shut down and there might not be any funding. We were freaking out. We had everything packed up, and we had all these hopes and dreams, and our world just seemed to come crashing down for COVID. COVID. What in the hell is COVID? I had no idea. Still, we tried to do everything we could to console our family, keep our life moving forward, and to just go with the flow, because really that's all you can do in life, right? So fast forward to the following week. Our closing didn't go through on the Friday, got postponed to the following week. So we actually ended up moving into our house illegally. We were told from our attorney to move all of our stuff back into our original home that we had already had a moving company move everything out because we were supposed to be closing. We had already signed all of the closing paperwork for our new house. And then this whole shutdown happened and we couldn't get the closing done that day. It was a Friday, super inconvenient, super stressful. We didn't know what to do. So we made a jump decision to move into the new house anyway. Our trucks were there waiting. We had already had the walkthrough. We had the keys. And so we did not own it. The seller, who was the builder, did not give us permission for use and occupancy to move in for the weekend. He was being a total jerk in my professional and non-professional opinion. We decided to move in anyway and spent the weekend there. We didn't have any appliances because Best Buy canceled all deliveries because of COVID and the shutdowns, and we just didn't know what was going to happen. So we waited patiently and kind of impatiently until Monday. Everything ended up going through like it was supposed to, but it was probably one of the most stressful weekends and parts of our life, even to date. We were probably one of the last funerals before funerals were shut down. Next thing we know, we are in our new house, quarantining, and just watching the news and wondering what in the world is going on. I had never seen anything like this in my entire life. What is a pandemic? Why are we being told to stay in our house? How am I going to make a living in real estate if I can't leave my house? So for weeks we were there, just quarantining, watching things unfold, trying to figure out what is going on. At that time, we just listened to what we were told, didn't question a thing, and didn't think a thing because, why? Why would we? They must be telling us what we need to do to keep us safe, right? Well, I quickly found out that that was pretty false. Fast forward to May 2020. That is when we had enough. We had enough hiding in our bubbles, being told we couldn't go outside, we couldn't go places. Real estate, thankfully, found different ways to let us operate, and it ended up being one of the busiest years of my life professionally. We just started going back to living again. My son celebrated a birthday in May. We had a very small, intimate gathering for that. Usually we have huge parties, so it was different, but we were still trying to respect that we wanted to keep people safe, but we were still kind of questioning, hey, is this actually keeping us safe? Are we really at risk? Simultaneously with COVID happening, we had a presidential election year. In 2016, when Trump was elected the first time around, I was so wrapped up in another difficult time in my life that I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't know that that was going to be our president. I didn't have any feelings on it one way or another. I just thought that's really random, but I didn't really pay attention to it. But fast forward to 2020, I really started to care because things started to affect my life, started to affect my children's lives. Namely, the lockdowns, the mandates, the mask mandates. My kids were outside playing softball wearing masks. Now, knowing what we know, that is freaking ridiculous, and I would have never stood for it back then. When the election campaign started, I quickly realized that something wasn't right. I started hearing so many conflicting things, stories just being made up across the board, discrepancies in the death toll, the number of sicknesses and ill people, the number of people who couldn't find beds, the number of people on ventilators. We were hearing it all across social media and the news, and all the numbers were just not matching up. And please don't even get me started on Dr. Fauci. I do not trust that guy as far as I can throw him. Don't care if doctor's in front of his name. I will believe until the day that I die that that man would not need a pardon from Joe Biden when he was leaving the presidency if he was doing things right by the American people. But that is all for another podcast. So in 2020, leading up to the elections, all you heard was tons of back and forth, finger pointing, accusations. You heard Joe Biden's campaign downing anything that Trump promoted, and you heard Trump scrambling to fight back for what he felt was right and try to make sense of all of what was happening. Where did this virus come from? How did it get released? You heard the rumors back then that it was from a lab in Wuhan, China. But if you believe that, you were a conspiracy theorist. If you believe that, you were bad. If you believe that, you didn't trust science. Still, I had my questions. Now looking back, rightfully so, more and more data and information has come out that have proven that the conspiracy theorists were actually onto something, and it wasn't so much a conspiracy after all. Let's dive into that a little bit. Conspiracy theorist. What does that even mean? Today, I feel like it's bad if you're not a conspiracy theorist. The people that have been labeled the conspiracy theorists in my lifetime, in this generation, are the people that are intelligent, free thinkers, that look to other outlets other than just the legacy media. It's the people that are researching, looking at all points of view. It's the people that don't take the government's word for fact, but dive deeper into it. Find out the background of the person that's telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing. Follow the money. Where's that coming from? Where is it going? Right now, I consider a conspiracy theorist title a badge of honor because let's face it, I don't want to be called a liberal. Now let's go over what I determine a liberal is from what I've seen. I think liberals have different meanings, but I'm going to go over my definition just so we're clear. To me, a liberal these days are the most hateful, judgmental, closed-minded people that I know. They have an inability to look at the other person's side. They claim that they're the party of compassion and acceptance, but they're some of the most cold, least compassionate people that I have seen. They don't accept others. If you don't think the way that they're telling you to think, they turn on you in a dime. And that is not right. That is one of the things that I have been so outspoken against because I cannot stand behind that. And then turning around and gaslighting it on the conservatives, like we're the racist people, we're the bad people, we're the ones excluding people, that is just simply not true. And this is why I think liberals are the most hypocritical people on earth. In this day and age, you can see that from them burning down buildings and Teslas and blowing up dealerships and destroying property. You can see it on Facebook. They're rude, they're condescending, they're arrogant, and they don't care about your feelings. So I'm sorry, but being a liberal these days does not mean you're accepting, loving, compassionate, empathetic, none of those things. Maybe it used to be, but that is not a liberal today, and not something that I want to be grouped in with. And I want to be on the record for saying, I absolutely hate sounding judgmental. I don't want to judge a liberal, no more than I want to be judged by a liberal. But these past 4 years, and even leading up to the last election, I can't help but feel personally attacked day in and day out by people that pride themselves in calling themselves liberals. I try my best to be respectful of everyone, even the non-like-minded people. But there's a fine line to walk there when they're not reciprocating that respect back to you. And so I want to dive into that a little bit. The disrespect, the way that people can't agree to disagree anymore and can't have different opinions and still be okay. This is something I'm very sensitive about because I actually received hate mail, literal hate mail, anonymous hate mail to my house back in 2020 and 2021 when all of this was going on and when I was being outspoken in my social media, sharing charts and graphs and data and discrepancies and questioning things. I wasn't on Facebook personally attacking my friends or my family that believed Joe Biden would be a better president. I wasn't on there attacking my friends and family who were afraid of COVID, but I was on there sharing facts and statistics and data and things that were coming out and questioning what was going on because I had to. This was for my children. My children's lives were being affected, and that was affecting me. I actually received a piece of mail that was anonymous, and it was pages long. Not a lot of people know about this. I didn't talk to a lot of people besides my very, very, very close family and a few friends. But I received hate mail to my home address, which that in itself is super scary. That's such a violation. So disrespectful. I don't know who in the world would do something like that, but it was disgusting. They picked apart me as a mother, me as a wife. They tried to accuse my husband of cheating on me with a stripper, which was far-fetched because not everybody knows us and our personal relationship. We are as close as you can be. We, as a family, share Life 360. We know each other's locations. We communicate effectively. So there was no way my husband was having some affair underneath my nose with a stripper without me knowing. I'm sorry to say, but that was the stupidest thing ever in the letter. And it validated everything that this person was trying to say, especially. Not that I believed any of it anyway. I wanted to pick apart me saying I'm insecure because I take pictures with my children and post pictures with my children on my Facebook. Like, come on. That's what people do on social media. I'm sorry if you go on social media just to bash people that don't have the same opinion of you, but I do go on there to share positive parts of my life and aspects of my life that maybe some of our family lives afar. Some of my family doesn't get to see my kids or see me. And so I do share that stuff on my social media, and I'm proud to share that stuff. But this person thought it would be hurtful and had the intent of hurting me as deeply as they possibly could for reasons I will never know. And I still to this day don't know who this person was. I'm just going to say they're so insecure and so jealous that I just feel bad for them. They wanted to try to bust up my marriage, bust up my self-esteem. And the underlying message was they totally disagreed with my political and my COVID stance during that time. I don't care if you have a differing opinion. You better be basing that, though, on facts and showing me the facts. I'm willing to look at the facts and hear why you think that. But I'm also going to speak up of why I think the way that I think and the things that support what I believe. And we're going to have an educated conversation as adults about it. We're not going to send anonymous hate letter to each other and make up stories to try to hurt somebody. I'm sorry, you're just a pathetic person if you think that's the right way to handle anything. Here we are 5 years later, and myself and my children and my husband are not COVID vaccinated. Thank God. We questioned that, and we didn't have jobs that required us to get vaccinated to earn a living. Thank God I did not have to. Looking at the data that is now coming out, these things are dangerous, and this should have been super illegal for them to be requiring this for people to have jobs and go to school. This is just mind-blowing stuff now, looking at all of the side effects of these COVID vaccines. So I thank God that I questioned it. I thank God that I looked at it every day and really wondered if what we were being told was actually what was happening. I'm glad I was looking into the numbers, and I didn't live my life for those years in complete fear, trapped in my house, not experiencing things and not letting my kids experience things because life is too short. I am sorry. And that offended people at the time. I still feel bad for that because I'm never here to offend people, but I'm sorry. Life is too short and people lie. Data can be manipulated, but we are here now 5 years later and we see COVID out there every day, just like the flu. We see vaccinated people getting COVID worse than some of us unvaccinated people. We see that vaccinated people are dropping with heart issues at a much higher rate than we've ever seen in our lifetime. And we know now that Fauci, for some odd reason, needed a pardon. So, I mean, I'm no rocket scientist, but I don't have to put too much together to really get to the conclusion that this guy was into some bad things. And what happened at that time, he was directly involved with. And he made a lot of money, and a lot of people made a lot of money at the expense of our freedoms and our choices and our livelihoods. And I'm just glad that I did not fall into that trap the way that some people did. And I don't fault you for doing so. I mean, if you didn't really know where to look and you weren't reading and researching, then you were just watching the news and you were believing what they were telling you. And everything in the news was negative and bad. It still is. It's pretty sad. And it's tainted. It's been proven to be tainted. Mark Zuckerberg on Meta himself went on talking about how it got tainted during that time. So if you don't believe me, go research, listen to his words on it, listen to what happened and his experience on it. And maybe you'll learn a little bit more. Maybe you'll be a little bit more enlightened. Maybe you'll be a little bit more skeptical next time something like this happens. God forbid something like this happens. But don't just always believe what the news media tells you, because that is not okay. But this really, that year, that woke me up, and I cannot unsee and unspeak my truth now, no matter what. Because I will never let my kids go there. I will never let my family go there. I will never let my friends go there again if I can help it. If you liked this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone that might need to hear it. And hey, if you're in Massachusetts, Connecticut, or Rhode Island, don't forget, I'm a real estate expert. I'm just a message away, happy to help. Till next time, take care of yourself, trust the process, and remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the first step. Talk soon.